Welcome back to Whispers in the Shadows HQ, where every crime hides a ghost. Tonight, we expose a man who planned his murders like military operations and vanished before revealing how many he killed. This is the chilling story of Israel Keyes, the most calculated serial killer you've never heard of. To the outside world, Israel Keyes was utterly ordinary. He was a general contractor, a father, and an army veteran living a quiet life in Anchorage, Alaska. But behind that unassuming smile was a predator who defied every stereotype of a serial killer. He had no preferred victim type, no set hunting ground, no traceable pattern. He chose his victims purely by chance because unpredictability was his greatest weapon, his ultimate camouflage. Keyes knew what the FBI looked for, and he meticulously engineered his crimes to leave them with nothing. He was a ghost in the system, moving unseen for over a decade. His method was as patient as it was terrifying. Over the course of 10 years, Keyes traveled across the United States, burying what he called kill kits. These were sealed buckets filled with everything he would need to commit a murder: duct tape, zip ties, guns, ammunition, rope, cash for a quick getaway, and even Drano to accelerate the decomposition of a body. He buried these kits in remote woods and fields, marking their locations with GPS coordinates. Years later, he would book a flight to a seemingly random state, rent a car, drive to a hidden spot, and dig up his tools. Then he would find a victim, commit the murder, and vanish, flying back home to his life in Alaska, leaving no connections and no clues. Investigators who later uncovered this system called him the most organized and disciplined killer they had ever encountered. He was playing a long game, and for years he was winning. The first victims authorities could definitively link to Keyes were Bill and Lorraine Currier of Essex, Vermont. In June 2011, the couple simply vanished from their home. There was no sign of a struggle, no witnesses, nothing. It was a complete mystery. Keyes later confessed that he had flown from Alaska to Chicago, rented a car, and driven over 1,000 miles east, with no specific destination in mind. He ended up in Vermont and spent days scouting for a target. He chose the Curriers' home for one simple, chilling reason: he saw no dog. He broke into their house in the middle of the night, bound them, and drove them to an abandoned farmhouse he had found earlier. There, he took their lives. He later returned to the farmhouse and demolished it, erasing the crime scene completely. The Curriers were just a name on a missing persons list until Keyes himself told investigators what he had done. His reign of terror would come to a dramatic and public end with his final victim. In February 2012, in his own city of Anchorage, Alaska, an 18-year-old barista named Samantha Koenig was closing up a small coffee stand for the night. Security footage captured the horrifying moment. A man in a ski mask, later identified as Keyes, appeared at the service window brandishing a gun. He forced Samantha out of the stand and kidnapped her. What followed was an act of unimaginable cruelty. Keyes sent a ransom demand to her family, and to make them believe she was still alive, used her phone to send text messages. In a truly monstrous act, he even used her bank card days after her death. The entire state of Alaska was on high alert, but Samantha was already gone. The one thing Keyes couldn't control was technology. He used Samantha Koenig's debit card to withdraw the ransom money from ATMs across several states, from Alaska to Arizona, New Mexico, and finally, Texas. These transactions created a digital breadcrumb trail that the FBI and local police were able to follow. The alerts flagged his rental car, and on March 13, 2012, a Texas Ranger pulled him over for a minor traffic violation near Lufkin, Texas. Inside his car, they found a gun, a map, wigs, and supplies for dyeing his hair. The ghost had finally been caught. During his interrogation, Keyes was shockingly calm. He sat sipping coffee, casually admitting to a string of violent crimes as if he were simply describing errands. When asked why he did it, his answer was simple and devoid of any emotion. "I just like doing it." He confessed to at least 11 murders, but refused to name most of his victims, treating their identities as bargaining chips. Psychologists and criminal profilers describe Israel Keyes as a new breed of serial killer. He was disciplined, methodical, and driven not by a twisted ideology or emotional rage, but by a pure, cold desire for the act itself. He was a student of his craft. He studied other famous murderers, like Ted Bundy and the Green River Killer, to learn from their mistakes and perfect his own methods. He developed a strict set of rules for himself. Never kill close to home, never use the same weapon twice, never develop a pattern, and never ever keep souvenirs that could link him to his crimes. He wasn't a monster who lost control. He was a monster who was always in control, and that's what made him so dangerous. The end for Israel Keyes came not in a courtroom, but in a lonely jail cell. In December 2012, while awaiting his federal trial for the murder of Samantha Koenig, Keyes took his own life. He left behind a 4-page rambling note, but it was something else found in his cell that truly haunts investigators to this day. Scrawled on the wall, reportedly in his own blood, was an eerie drawing, 11 skulls, and beneath them the cryptic phrase, "We are one." The FBI believes those 11 skulls represent his 11 confessed victims, but given his extensive travels and meticulous planning, many fear the real number is far, far higher. With his death, he took the names of his other victims to the grave. And so, the questions remain. Where are the other kill kits he buried across America? How many undiscovered victims lie in unmarked graves from Oregon to Washington, from New York to Texas? To this day, the FBI continues to receive leads connected to his known travels, cross-referencing his credit card records and flight manifests with unsolved disappearances and murders across the country and even into Canada. Each new map pin they place is a chilling reminder of a possible grave, another family that may never know what happened to their loved one. Israel Keyes proved that evil doesn't always announce itself with a roar. Sometimes it builds houses, raises families, and hides in plain sight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This is Whispers in the Shadows HQ, where the quietest monsters often leave the loudest echoes. Thank you for joining us. If you found this investigation compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the cases that history can't forget. Stay safe out there.